The phone screen glowed like a beacon in the dark, its blue light slicing through the quiet of our apartment. My thumb hovered over the text. Working late at the office conference. Don't wait up tonight. The words from Lena stung, not because they were unusual, but because of the hour, 10:47 p.m., and the way they sat there, cold and curt, in our iMessage thread. My gut churned, a primal instinct whispering that something was off. I typed back, fingers trembling with a mix of sarcasm and dread. Hope you and Jake from accounting enjoy the presentation. I hit send, expecting nothing but silence. 20 minutes later, the front door rattled, and Lena stood there, keys shaking in her hand, her face pale as if she'd seen a ghost. The living room was a snapshot of our life together. Mismatched throw pillows on the couch, a half-empty wine glass on the coffee table, and the faint hum of the city filtering through the cracked window. I sat frozen, my phone still clutched in my hand. The text thread open like an accusation. Lena's coat was half on, her hair slightly mussed, and her eyes, those hazel eyes I'd memorized over 6 years, darted everywhere but at me. You're home early, I said, my voice low, testing the air. She flinched, setting her keys down with a clatter that echoed like a gunshot in the stillness. I'd the conference wrapped up, she mumbled, slipping off her coat and tossing it over a chair. Her phone buzzed in her purse, and she ignored it, but the sound was a needle in my spine. I'd noticed the patterns lately, her phone face down on the table during dinner, the way she'd angle it away when typing the late-night work calls that ended with her voice softening, almost intimate. I told myself it was nothing, just the paranoia of a man too comfortable in routine. But now, with her standing there, her cheeks flushed and her excuses thin, the doubts I'd buried clawed their way to the surface. Jake from accounting, huh? I said, leaning back, forcing a smile that felt like a grimace. Must have been some presentation. Her eyes snapped to mine, wide with something: guilt? Fear? Anger? She opened her mouth, then closed it, her fingers twisting the hem of her blouse. It was just a joke, Lena, I added, softer now, giving her an out. But my heart pounded, begging her to take it, to laugh it off, to prove me wrong. It's not what you think, she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. She sat on the edge of the couch, too far from me, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. He's a colleague. We were working on the quarterly report. Her words sounded rehearsed, like lines from a script she'd been practicing in her head on the drive home. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But the air between us was thick with unspoken truths. And her phone buzzed again, relentless, like a heartbeat we couldn't ignore. Then why rush home? I asked, my tone sharper than I intended. Why the shaking hands, Lena? Why does it feel like you're hiding something? My voice cracked on the last word, betraying the hurt I'd been swallowing for weeks. Her social media had been a minefield of vague clues. A tagged photo from a team happy hour she hadn't mentioned, a late-night Instagram story of a city skyline I didn't recognize, her location sharing turned off when it used to ping me every evening. I'd rationalized it all. Work stress, new responsibilities, maybe even my own insecurities projecting onto her. But now, with her sitting there, avoiding my gaze, the rationalizations crumbled. I'm not hiding anything, she said, but her voice wavered, and she reached for her phone, silencing it without looking. That small gesture was a spark to dry tinder. Then show me, I said, standing now, my pulse roaring in my ears. Show me the texts, the calls, the work emails. Prove I'm just being paranoid. The words felt like a betrayal of my own trust in her, but they spilled out anyway, raw and desperate. Lena's face hardened, her jaw tightening. You don't trust me, she said, not a question but an accusation. After everything you think I'd. She stopped, her breath hitching, and for a moment, I thought she might cry. But she didn't. Instead, she stood, grabbing her purse. I need some air, she muttered, heading for the door. Don't, I said, stepping in front of her, my voice softer now, pleading. Don't run from this, Lena. Talk to me. My hand reached for hers, but she pulled away, her fingers cold and trembling. The distance between us wasn't just physical. It was a chasm, built from weeks of half-truths and late-night silences. I thought of the early days, when we'd stay up texting until dawn, our phones lighting up with goofy emojis and promises of forever. Now those same devices were weapons, their screens hiding secrets I wasn't sure I wanted to uncover. I'm not running, she said, but her eyes were glassy, her voice thick with something unspoken. I can't do this right now. She pushed past me, and the door clicked shut behind her, leaving me alone with the hum of the city and the weight of my own doubts. I sank onto the couch, my phone still in hand, the text thread glaring up at me. I scrolled back, searching for the moment things changed. There a month ago, a message from her at 1 a.m. Caught up at work, don't worry. Another, 2 weeks later. Networking event, might be late. Each one had seemed innocent at the time, but now they were breadcrumbs leading somewhere I didn't want to go. I opened her Instagram, the app we'd once used to share silly memes, now a gallery of curated half-truths. A recent story showed her laughing in a dimly lit bar, Jake's arm just visible in the frame. My stomach twisted, and I clicked the phone off, unable to look anymore. The next hour was a blur of pacing, coffee, and the gnawing urge to check her phone, which she'd left on the counter in her haste. I didn't touch it, not yet. Instead, I replayed every moment of the past few months. Her distracted smiles, the way she'd stop mid-sentence when her phone lit up, the sudden work trips that left me eating alone. I'd told myself it was her ambition, her drive to climb the corporate ladder. But ambition didn't explain the late-night whispers, or the way she'd started locking her phone with a passcode I didn't know. When she returned, her eyes were red, her mascara smudged. She didn't speak, just sat across from me, her phone still buzzing in her purse like a trapped insect. Tell me the truth, I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. No more excuses. No more work. Just tell me. She looked at me then, really looked at me, and the weight of her gaze was unbearable. It's not an affair, she said, her voice breaking. Not physically, but I've been talking to Jake. A lot. More than I should. Each word was a blade, slicing through the trust we'd built. It started as nothing, work stress venting. But it became something else. Emotional, maybe. I don't know. The room spun. Emotional infidelity. Somehow it hurt worse than the physical could have. Why? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Why him? Why not me? I didn't mean for it to happen, she said, tears spilling now. You were always here, but I felt alone. Work was crushing me, and Jake, he listened. She reached for my hand, but I pulled back, the sting of her words too fresh. I love you, she said, desperate. I swear I do. I got lost. I wanted to scream, to throw her phone against the wall, to demand every detail of their late-night chats. But all I could do was sit there, the man I thought I was crumbling under the weight of her confession. What now? I asked, my voice hollow. I don't know, she whispered, and the honesty in her voice was the final twist of the knife. We sat in silence, the city's hum filling the void, our phones lying between us like evidence of a crime neither of us could undo.